All right, so get this. We're going deep today on something in golf that most people just kind of gloss over.
Oh, yeah. Definitely one of those things that's more important than most golfers realize.
Grip pressure.
Exactly.
We've got some incredible data from Sensor Edge, a company that uses sensors to, get this, actually track what's going on with golfers' hands during their swing.
It's amazing what technology can do these days, right? I mean, who would have thought we could get this granular with something like grip pressure?
Right, and what we found out might just change how you think about your grip forever.
Yeah, I was surprised by some of the findings myself.
So are you ready to challenge some of that traditional golf wisdom?
Let's do it.
Okay, first things first. Let's talk pros.
The best of the best.
What does their grip pressure actually look like? Are they really holding the club that lightly, like we always hear?
Well, especially with their trail hand, yeah. For a right-handed golfer, that's their right hand, the data shows that they keep a really consistent pressure with that trail hand throughout their entire swing.
Wow, the entire swing. So they're not like gripping it tighter at impact or anything.
Nope. Consistent the whole time. And get this, they're only using about 15% of their total grip strength.
15%? That's crazy light. I would have thought they were squeezing the life out of it.
Right.
What about the left hand, the lead hand?
Now, that's where things get interesting. The lead hand, it actually increases pressure as the swing goes on.
Really?
Yep, peaking right before impact.
Huh. So there's like a strategy to it then.
Absolutely. It's not just about holding on lightly the whole time.
So why is that lead hand ramping up the pressure like that? What's going on there?
Well, it seems like the lead hand is really key for generating that club head speed, but also controlling the club face.
Ah, I see. So it's kind of like the lead hand is taking charge as you're approaching the ball.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Now, I'm sure a lot of our listeners out there are fighting a slice or a hook.
I feel their pain.
We've all been there, right? So can you break down what's happening with their grip pressure? Let's start with the hook. Those golfers who just can't seem to keep the ball from curving to the left, what's their grip pressure looking like?
Okay, so picture this. A graph. Hookers, they tend to start with lighter grip pressure in both hands than, say, a pro.
Okay, so they're starting light. Got it.
But then, here's where it gets interesting. As they get to the top of their backswing, the pressure in that trail hand, it just shoots way up, like a spike on the graph. Then it drops off, only to spike again right before impact.
Wow, so it's like all over the place. Inconsistent.
Exactly, and that inconsistency, it can really mess with your timing and how you control the club face. Ultimately, yeah, it can lead to that big hook.
Makes sense. So what about the slicers, those golfers who can't stop the ball from curving to the right? What's happening with their grip?
Slicers, they also tend to start super light with the grip pressure in both hands.
Similar to the hookers there.
Yeah, but their grip pressure is almost entirely driven by the trail hand.
Really? So it's even more pronounced with them.
It is, and it follows a similar pattern. Big spike at the top of the backswing, then it drops off, then comes back again at impact.
Interesting. So both hookers and slicers are showing these really inconsistent patterns in their trail hand pressure, but kind of for different reasons, it seems.
Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation when it comes to these swing flaws.
Okay, so we've looked at the pros, we've looked at the hookers and the slicers, but now I'm kind of curious, what does this graph look like for, like, the average high handicapper?
Oh man, get ready for this. High handicappers, their graphs are almost the exact opposite of the pros. It's crazy.
Wait, what? They're basically doing it backwards.
Pretty much.
I've got to hear this. Break it down for me.
All right, so they start off weak with the trail hand, right? But then, during their swing, the pressure in that hand, it goes through the roof. I mean, sometimes it goes over 100% of their grip strength.
No way. Like they're just white-knuckling it.
Exactly. And meanwhile, their lead hand pressure, it stays weak throughout the entire swing.
Wow. So they're basically doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing.
Yep.
No wonder golf feels so hard for so many people. I mean, if you're starting with the grip completely backwards, it's no wonder you're struggling to hit the ball consistently.
Right. It's like trying to run a race with your shoelaces tied together. You're making things way harder than they need to be.
Okay, so we've talked about how grip pressure can go wrong. But let's flip the script here. How can getting it right actually help you hit the ball farther?
Well, it all starts with grip strength itself. A stronger grip actually lets you hold the club more securely without having to squeeze it as hard. And that translates to faster swing speeds, which ultimately means more distance.
Ah, so it's not just about technique, it's about actual physical strength too.
Absolutely.
So if our listeners are finding they're losing distance, working on their grip strength could be a game changer.
It really could. It's one of those often overlooked areas that can make a huge difference.
I like it. So, we've seen what the pros are doing. We've seen how things can go wrong for us amateurs. But now the big question is, how do we actually improve our grip pressure and get closer to that pro-level consistency? Any drills we can try?
Definitely. There are a couple of really great drills that can help you retrain your grip pressure.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me the first one.
The first one is all about pulling with the lead hand.
Pulling. I usually think about swinging with my trail hand.
Yeah, that's a common mistake. But really, the power should be coming from your lead hand. You want to be pulling the club through the swing, not pushing it.
Okay, interesting. So how do I practice that pulling motion?
Try taking some half swings with the thumb and first finger of your trail hand off the club.
So I'm only gripping with my last 3 fingers on my right hand.
Exactly. By taking those fingers off the club, you're forcing yourself to rely on your lead hand to control the club. It'll help you develop that pulling sensation and break the habit of pushing with the trail hand.
Makes sense. What's the second drill?
The second drill is all about awareness. This time, you're going to focus on the feeling of pressure in your lead hand, specifically in those last 3 fingers.
Okay, so feeling the pressure in my left hand. Got it.
As you swing, you want to gradually increase the pressure in those fingers from about 50% to 70% throughout the swing.
So I'm like slowly ramping up the pressure.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot of pressure that allows you to maintain control of the club without sacrificing speed or fluidity.
I like these drills. They're simple. I can do them anywhere. No fancy equipment needed.
Exactly. Simple and effective.
So before we move on, I want to kind of bring it back to the listener for a second. What's the key takeaway here? What have we learned about grip pressure so far?
I think the biggest takeaway is that grip pressure is way more than just how tightly you're holding the club. It's about strategically applying pressure at different points in your swing to get to the most power and control.
That's a great way to put it. And with a little practice, anyone can start to make those adjustments and see some real improvement.
I completely agree.
But we're not done yet. In our next segment, we're going to dive even deeper into grip pressure. We're going to talk about chipping, putting, bunker shots.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into all the details.
So if you want to really master this essential part of golf, make sure you stick with us.
We'll be right back after a quick break.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back.
All right, so.
We've been breaking down grip pressure in the full swing
Yeah,
and how it can seriously impact your game.
it really can.
But now, let's switch gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about those finesse shots.
The short game.
Chipping, putting, bunker shots.
But those are the ones that can really make or break your score.
Exactly. So chipping first.
Yeah.
What kind of grip pressure are we looking for when we're just off the green?
Well, the main thing with chipping is consistency.
Okay, so we want that same pressure throughout the shot.
Right. And you want a grip that's a little firmer than your full swing grip.
So not quite that death grip, but we're also not holding it like a bird anymore.
Exactly. Somewhere in between.
Got it. How should we be thinking about the pressure between our lead and trail hands when we're chipping?
So for chipping, the lead hand is still in charge, you know?
Okay, so the lead hand is still doing most of the work.
Yeah, it's all about control with that lead hand. Keeping that pressure consistent, it helps you control the club face and make nice, smooth contact.
Makes sense. What about the trail hand? What's its role?
The trail hand is mainly there for support.
Okay, so it's not trying to take over or anything.
No, definitely not. You don't want to be pushing or forcing the shot with your trail hand.
Just let the lead hand do its thing.
Exactly.
All right, chipping, check. Let's move on to putting.
Putting. The mental game.
Right. I mean, putting is as much about feel as anything, and a lot of that feel comes down to grip pressure.
It really does. And the interesting thing about putting is there's no one-size-fits-all approach to grip pressure.
So we're not looking for like a magic number or a percentage here.
Not really. Every golfer has got to find what feels best for them.
Okay, so it's all about personal preference.
To a certain extent, yeah. But a good starting point is to use a lighter grip pressure than you would for your full swing or chipping.
Makes sense. You don't need a lot of power when you're putting.
Exactly. Putting is all about that smooth, fluid stroke.
And a relaxed grip can help you achieve that.
Absolutely. A relaxed grip promotes a truer roll, while a tight grip can make the ball skid or hop.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot between control and relaxation.
Right.
Any specific things to keep in mind about the pressure between our lead and trail hands when we're putting?
Yeah, so no matter how light or firm your grip is, you want to keep the pressure consistent between your hands.
Okay, so no sudden changes in pressure during the strike.
Right, because those changes can throw off your aim and lead to those pushes and pulls.
Ugh, the dreaded pushes and pulls.
And nobody wants those.
All right, so we got chipping, putting, last one, bunker shots.
Ah, yes, bunker shots. The bane of many golfers' existence.
Tell me about it. I know I'm not the only one who struggles with those.
Definitely not.
So, spill the beans. What's the secret to getting out of the sand consistently? Does grip pressure have anything to do with it?
It definitely does. You actually need a slightly firmer grip than you would for chipping.
Really? Why is that? I would have thought you'd want a lighter grip to kind of, I don't know, scoop the ball out.
That's a common misconception. But remember, with a bunker shot, you're not trying to hit the ball directly. You want to create that splash of sand that lifts the ball out.
Ah, I see. So you need that firmer grip to power through the sand.
Exactly. Imagine you're trying to hit the sand behind the ball, not the ball itself.
Okay, that's a helpful image. So my trail hand's playing a bigger role here than it did with chipping or putting.
Yeah, your trail hand is going to be more active, helping you generate that power.
But consistency is still key.
Yes, absolutely. You want to maintain that firm grip throughout the swing, no sudden changes in pressure.
Got it. Firm grip, focus on the sand, not the ball.
You got it.
Okay, so we've talked about these specific shots, but are there any common mistakes you see amateurs making with grip pressure in their short game in general?
One of the biggest mistakes I see is gripping the club too tightly.
Ah, the old death grip.
Exactly. It might feel like you have more control, but it actually creates tension and leads to all sorts of inconsistencies.
So even in the short game, we want to be thinking about relaxing the grip.
Absolutely. It might sound counterintuitive, but often a lighter grip gives you better feel and control.
So it's about finding that balance, just like with putting.
Right.
We've talked a lot about drills for the full swing.
Yeah.
Are there any drills or exercises we can do to develop a better feel for grip pressure in these specific short game situations?
For sure. For chipping, a simple drill is to take a few practice swings and just focus on the pressure in your lead hand.
Okay, just feel that pressure.
Yep, you want to feel constant, even pressure throughout the swing, no sudden increases or decreases.
So it's about building that awareness and consistency.
Exactly.
What about putting any drills for finding that ideal grip pressure on the greens?
One of the best things you can do is just experiment with different grip pressures while you're practicing.
I'll just try different things and see what feels best.
Exactly. Start with a very light grip and gradually increase the pressure until you find a level that feels comfortable.
I like it. Simple but effective.
Right.
And what about bunker shots? Any drills for those?
The key with bunker shots is to practice hitting from a greenside bunker while focusing on maintaining that firm grip.
Okay, so firm grip, but still controlled.
Right. And as you swing down into the sand, try to visualize splashing a bucket of sand onto the green.
Okay, so I'm not thinking about hitting the ball. I'm thinking about hitting the sand.
Exactly.
That's a great visual.
It can really help you get the right feel.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about drills.
We have.
But what about those golfers who, I don't know, maybe they're not even thinking about grip pressure at all?
Yeah, I think a lot of golfers overlook it.
What advice would you give them for incorporating grip pressure awareness into their practice routine?
The simplest thing is to make grip pressure a conscious part of your pre-shot routine.
So before I even start my swing, I'm checking in with my grip.
Exactly.
Am I holding the club too tightly, too loosely?
Right. Make those adjustments before you even start your swing.
So it's about bringing that awareness to the forefront of your mind.
It is. And then as you're practicing, pay attention to how different grip pressures affect your results.
So it's about experimenting and seeing what works.
Exactly.
We've talked a lot about the physical side of grip pressure,
The technical side of things.
but I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something I think is even more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
How grip pressure affects the mental side of golf.
Ah, the mental game.
Right. I mean, golf can be such a mental challenge,
It really can.
and it's amazing how much our thoughts and emotions can affect how we play.
Absolutely. And grip pressure is a really interesting link between the physical and the mental.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that. Welcome back. So we've been talking about grip pressure, how it affects your swing, your short game.
Yeah, all the technical stuff.
Right. But now I want to get into something, I don't know, a little deeper.
Okay.
The mental side of golf.
Ah, yes, the mental game. Everyone's favorite.
Right. It's crazy how much our thoughts and emotions can mess with our game.
It really is. And grip pressure can actually tell us a lot about what's going on in our heads.
Really? So like, my grip can actually reveal my mental state.
It can. Think about it. When you're tense, anxious, Not feeling confident, what do? You grip the club tighter.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to, I don't know, force it or something.
Exactly. It's like your mental state is showing up in your hands.
Interesting. So does that work the other way around? Like, if I relax my grip, will that help me feel more calm and confident?
It absolutely can. It's like a feedback loop. When you relax your grip, you're sending a signal to your brain that everything's okay, you're in control.
Huh, like tricking your mind into believing you got this.
And the amazing thing is, it works. When you feel confident in your grip, that confidence, it just kind of spills over into your swing, your decisions, everything.
So it's not just about hitting the ball better, it's about feeling better too.
Exactly. It's about building that mental resilience that you need to perform under pressure.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects. Can we talk about some specific examples? Like, how does grip pressure affect confidence in those, high pressure moments that we all face on the course?
Sure. Take putting, for example. You've got a crucial putt to win the hole, the pressure's on, what happens?
Oh man, my hands start sweating, my heart's racing, and yeah, I definitely grip the putter tighter.
That's a natural reaction, but that death grip, it can be a killer. All that tension, it just makes it so much harder to make a smooth, consistent stroke.
So what can we do about it? How do we avoid that grip pressure trap when the pressure's on?
The key is to consciously relax your grip. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you've practiced this putt a million times.
So trusting yourself.
Right. Exactly. Trust your skills, trust your practice, and let go of that fear.
Easier said than done sometimes, but I get it.
And when you can relax your grip, it's amazing how much smoother and more consistent your stroke becomes.
So it's like using my grip as a tool to manage my nerves.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked about confidence. What about consistency? How does grip pressure affect our ability to hit the ball consistently well?
Well, consistency comes down to repeatability, right? Doing the same thing over and over again. And grip pressure, it plays a huge role in creating a repeatable swing.
I see. So if my grip is changing all the time, that's going to mess with my swing.
It will, because every time you grip the club differently, it changes how the club face hits the ball.
Right. It's like I'm using a different club every time.
Exactly. And that makes it really hard to develop a consistent swing and a predictable ball flight.
But when my grip is consistent, it's like I'm laying a solid foundation for my swing.
That's a great way to put it. It takes one variable out of the equation.
And that repeatability is what leads to consistency.
Exactly. So find that sweet spot, that grip pressure that feels right for you, and stick with it.
So it's about awareness, experimentation, and finding what works best for you.
That's the key.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Grip pressure in the full swing, the short game, the mental side of golf. It's amazing how much this one thing can impact our game.
It really is. It's one of those fundamental things that can make all the difference.
Absolutely. So listeners, I hope you're walking away from this deep dive with a newfound appreciation for the power of grip pressure. It's more than just how tightly you hold the club. It's about control, confidence, and consistency.
It's about unlocking your full potential as a golfer.
So the next time you're on the course, take a moment to really feel your grip, make those adjustments, find that sweet spot, and you might be surprised at what you can achieve.
Happy swinging, everyone.
And we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.